Greetings, my name is Mr. Good and Kinky. In this video, I am going to talk about how Christianity is a negative belief system. And I am all about being positive. Yes, there are times that I get irritated. Yes, there are people that piss me off. Typically, they're the ones that are interested in bringing drama, chaos, strife. And those people, I get rid of. I block them. I'm not dealing with trolls. I'm not dealing with those, to use the term, that want to be negative. A troll is also someone that's engaging in negative behavior. I am not going to give them the ability to spew their negativity. Because someone like that, all they really want is to try and pull everyone else down to their level of misery. Which is actually what Gary, his friends, the Gunning Peter, and so forth, that's what they're interested in doing. They want to drag people down to being as pissed off and miserable as they are. Because their life sucks, they want everybody else's life to suck, because they have this mindset of life is horrible, life is sin, and so forth, that they fail to realize that in life, you get as you give. If you're a negative person, you will get back negative things, negative results. If you're a positive person, you will get back positive things, positive results. The only aspect where somebody that is doing the Alex Jones and bullhorning people, that they can feel that they're having positive results or when they encounter those that are as brainwashed as they are. Or when they encounter someone that really doesn't know how positive attracts positive, negative attracts negative. And that they let the fear mindset that he's pushing warp their mind and think that they are this horrible person when really you're not. People are, in general, good. Like I've said, there are some that engage in negative behavior, however you don't condemn someone for one action. That is immoral. There is no learning there. The idea that is put forward by people like him, it's not just Gary, this is a very fundamentalist Christian attitude. The idea that everyone has fallen short of the glory of God, that garbage. The problem with that is no sane person would honestly expect a child to live up to adult standards. You would not expect a dog to live up to adult or human standards. At least as far as I know, except in the movie with Jim Carrey, where Morgan Freeman was God, that's the only depiction I've seen of a dog using the toilet. You don't expect animals to use the toilet, use the stove, do the things that humans do. You don't even expect monkeys to do that. The thing is, for a religion, Christians, to say that people don't live up to a God standard, no, we're not gods. In that aspect of magical beings that can blink things into existence, no, we're not. But I would argue there is no such thing. There are no magical beings in that regard. There is no evidence that a Q would exist in reality. And if such would, it wouldn't care about us. I mean, point blank. That's ego. But the idea that we have to live up to the standard of something that is, by Christians' own admission, beyond our level, beyond our comprehension. If we can't comprehend it, then there's no way we can live up to its standard because we can't comprehend it. If it's out of our comprehension, then its standard and its way of living would be also out of our comprehension. What they want to have is a control factor, a fear. element, that you have to be afraid of their God. And that shows that it is an evil being. Because a good parent doesn't instill a mindset of the child has to be afraid of them. Now, if a child's afraid of you, they're not going to come to you. They're not going to talk to you. They're not going to bring their problems to you. They're not going to tell you when something is wrong because they're afraid of you. If a child trusts you and knows that it's safe, that it's going to be loved no matter what, then it will. They will be inclined to come to you and talk to you because they know they're safe. They know they're loved no matter what. You don't have that with your God, Gary. Your God doesn't promote that. Your God isn't about that. Because your God is the church. That's what it's really coming down to. You worship the church. There is no boing God. If you want to get into the aspect of that, to use the term, we're all a part of all that would be. A God that would, if there would be, to use, a God is such a generic term, it's better to use the term of all that is. And all of us are part of all that is. We are a reflection of all that is. And all of us are necessary and valid as we are for all that is. Otherwise, all that is wouldn't be all that is, because it would be missing a piece. Everyone is valuable. Everyone has worth. Everyone is priceless. You see the difference in this mindset, Gary? You push an attitude of, you're horrible, you're worthless, you're wretched, you're a sinner. And I'm all about, you are perfect the way you are. Yes, there are ways you can improve yourself. But as you are, you're good. People are good. I'm not about trying to tear someone down. I'm not about trying to have power over anyone. That's not how I roll. I'm not on an ego trip like you, Gary. I'm not out to say, see, I'm so much better. No. I'm no better, no worse, just different. There's also the stupid notion of no man has searched for God. That is bullshit. I can say from my own life, I have. There was a close friend of mine that I had growing up, that both him and I were raised in the Lutheran religion. And there was one point when we were teenagers, he had looked at me and said, I have never seen anyone that searched for God like you have. And I was, yeah, I know. It's a bit ironic, the aspects of the directions our lives went. I haven't talked to him in years. He went into the ministry. He went into working toward being a minister. I had people telling me at 18, 19, so forth, that I'm good at speaking. I'm a good speaker. And that I would be a good minister, because I knew, and I know the Bible very well. And when I thought about that, and to use the term at the time, prayed about it, what I would say now as, in a sense, consulting my higher self or meditating on the idea, what I felt very clearly was a no, your path is in another direction. Yeah, the opposite one. Ironic. But what's really ironic, and I want to get this out for people, is on the debate on March 16th, I am taking the position that the Bible God is evil. G-Man, Gary, has the position the Bible God is good. The ironic thing about this, what you will hear, I will make this prediction right now and it'll prove very true. My message is going to be a positive one for humanity. Gary's message is a negative one. It's a bit ironic when you think about it. I have the position God is evil. But what I am going to say is positive, moral, uplifting for people. Whereas what Gary is going to try to put forward with showing his God is good, he has to tear down people. He has to show how how people are so bad, how we're so negative. His message is negative. Mine is positive. It's ironic as hell that he's trying to say he's good and his message is negative. Because if you are negative, what you will attract in your life is negative behavior, negative results. But getting back to this idea of nobody searches after God, that's a crock of shit. I think it's Matt Dillahunty is his name, the one guy with the Atheist Experience program. He was either a minister or working towards that when he ran into the problem of he couldn't find evidence. He couldn't find valid reasons to believe that the God exists. The thing is, I bet you 10 to 1 that he would be the first to say he looked for God, he thought he found him. The thing is, he did look. There are tons of people that search for this God. There are Christians all over this planet, just living now, that are searching for God all over the place. The problem is none of them are finding him. All they can find is a religion that is big on pushing fear, pushing hate, pushing intolerance. That's not love. That's not positive. That's not good. You don't get goodness from hate, from intolerance, from fear, from shaking your finger at someone. The idea, and I will address this as well, that Christian, and I grew up with this type of shit, of hearing you're a horrible, worthless, wretched sinner, and so forth. The verbal abuse. I dealt with verbal abuse from my mom. I know it very well. It's one of the things that when I get angry, I've fought the desire or the impulse in myself to lash out verbally. But sometimes it still hits. Certain words that I use, like moron, stupid, whatnot, I grew up hearing that shit. All the time. So and I'm not trying to make excuses for it. But there are some people that it fits. That their behavior is so moronic, so stupid, so retarded, and I'm not trying to use that as a slam against anyone that does have a mental handicap. Because in my mind, the way I'm thinking, those that are mentally handicapped that would have that term medically or whatnot applied to them, they're nothing as bad as these people. They are intelligent compared to the people that I'm dealing with. This stupidity and ignorance is a choosing. People choose to be dumb. Those that are because of a defect in the body, it's not their fault. And those people, most times, are very positive, happy people. You don't see them going around spewing the hate and the venom and the vile behavior that people like Gary do. And what gets me, what absolutely gets me, are people like Gunning Peter want to try and say how I'm spewing hatred and vileness, yet I'm not the one that is saying people are horrible. I'm not the one giving a negative message to people. The message I am giving is overall positive. I don't accept your God or your Jesus, but so what? That doesn't make what I'm saying negative. Those that want to try and say that they're not Christians, but that they love God and Jesus, and you're this way to me because you hate Jesus and God. I don't hate them. I don't believe they exist. I don't believe they're real. There's a difference. As far as fictional characters in the book, the storyline, yes, I see them as vile. I would have the same attitude towards Darth Vader, Pinhead, Jason, Freddy, if those fictional characters would be used as the basis for how we're supposed to live. They're not, so I don't talk about them. I don't care about them. But I would be spewing the same thing at them. I would be attacking those ideas just as strongly if they would be the basis for how people would say a society should be operating. They're not. But there are tons of people that have searched for God. There are monks and nuns that spend and devote their life to searching for God type of thing. None of them find Him. Not one. Not one has been able to say, found God. I know the atheist experience would love to have, you find God, call them up. They'll let you on. They'd love to see the, in a sense, evidence, or, shit, make a YouTube video. You found God? Good, make a YouTube video. Show us God. Don't try showing us nature. That's not God. That's nature. Atheists are smart enough to recognize when you're trying to do bullshit games. The religious, they don't seem to be so smart. Because they seem to buy into negative, hateful mindset. Not all of them. Not all of them are this ignorant. But the fundamentalists are. And in that regard, Gary, his friends, Gunning Peter, I see them really as no different than Westboro Baptist Church. They're just slightly different. Slightly tweaked Westboro Baptist, but they're spewing the same hate. They're spewing the same vile crap. The thing is, and one of the things I want to say before I close this is, religion is in the business of control. Religion is all about, it has been, since its inception, it is about keeping and maintaining control. The thing is, you can easily control a child. That is why Christianity says you have to be born again. Because they don't want you to grow up, they want you to remain a child. So that they can tell you what to think, what to do, and have absolute control over you. What we need as a society is not to be born again. We need to grow up. We need to mature as a species. We need to learn to embrace love, acceptance, positive behavior. Acceptance and love doesn't mean letting others treat you like a doormat. It doesn't mean empowering those that want to spew negativity. No. They want to be negative? Fine. They can be negative elsewhere. Go away. Be negative by yourself. Yes, I'm aware misery likes company, but you're not going to have my company. You want to be miserable, Gary? You want to be hateful? You're going to have a miserable existence. I can guarantee it. It's the way nature works. It's the way life works. Nature itself will fight you every step of the way. Because the energy you're putting out is negative. What you will get back is negative. If you want to see a different reflection out of life, you have to change. Which actually goes back to what your Jesus had said. Men must change before nations can. You can't expect to see a change in the world before there's a change in you. The thing is, if you're just spewing hate, venom, intolerance, that's what you'll see. Of course the world's going to look like hell. Because that's what's in your head. Because that's what's in you. The idea of your God, the Bible God, point blank, it doesn't exist. Not a being. There is no external thing that is a God. Because as I said in a previous video, every single one of us, and I would challenge anybody, prove me wrong on this point. Every single one of you view reality from yourself as the center. Everything that happens, you are the center of it. It's happening around you. You don't see life or anything in this world from outside of you. You see it from your eyes. It all comes in via your brain, your senses. It's all a matter of how you're interpreting what is going on in your world. So in that regard, every single one of us are a piece of, to use the term, all that is. And to use the term all that is doesn't make a mistake, so you're as valuable as everyone else. No one is any more or less valuable. Everyone matters. You can't have a belief system that is pitting an us against them mindset and claiming to be good. It simply doesn't work. This is Mr. Good and Kinky, Greg.